first one is solution focus. Who would have thought that solution focus? So I got trained in called solution focus therapy like years ago, and when I first got trained in, I loved it because traditional psychology was very focused on problems. It was like problems in the past, and you can't do anything about it. And I found the whole thing quite draining. And then I got trained with what's called solution focused coaching, solution focused therapy, and I loved it because it was helping a person to identify what the problem is, but the focus was on the present with what you could do in the present to help yourself in the future. So it was still addressing the past, but you wouldn't stay stuck there. And so I just found, when we built out this tool, it's just really interesting that who would have thought that building trust is around being solution focused.
Hmm.
Like a lot of times, I don't know if a lot of you, if we had asked you beforehand, okay, think about how do you build trust? How many people would have thought, well, you have to be solution focused for it? Like it's not generally one of the kind of variables that most of us would actually think of. But it really works because it means like you're working together. Okay, you're working together. Think of your team. Think about like that your favorite manager, the favorite colleague, your favorite friend. Um, Problems are going to come up, but when you know the person is coming to the table and they are approaching it with, okay, this is a problem. Let's kind of fix this. It just builds a sense of trust. Second one, everybody is humble. Second one is humble. So when we actually want to build trust, we need to really kind of be aware of our humility. Talk about why humility is important for trust. So, Brent, how would you see it? If I had said to you before this course, if you want to really build trust at work and at home, you need to make sure that you're actually humble. You're kind of exercising humility. What do you think?
Yeah. So when I think of it in this context, what it would mean to me is if I witness someone who doesn't quite, where their perception of how they're doing based on the level of humility they show and how they speak or how they interact with others, if it doesn't fit what I'm observing with them, I would I don't know how well I can trust what they're telling me about other things. I don't know how well I can trust them to do if they say, "Yeah, I've got this," and I'm like, "Yeah, you said you had it last time, but you really dropped the ball." You know what I mean? Like there's a couple different ways I think that could play out.
Mm-hmm.
Like I think it's being realistic with your own abilities and
Mm-hmm.
your strengths and your weaknesses, and
Mm-hmm.
being self. There's a self awareness piece to it. I think that
Mm-hmm.
that is really important.
The piece that really is important, I think, is in this on the scorecard, everybody, under definitions, great leaders welcome feedback. So I think this is why humility is just such a huge piece to this puzzle, is because if we really want to build trust, both professionally and personally, we need to be open for feedback. If we're open for in humility, we need humility to be open for feedback because if we're arrogant, we're going to be resistant to feedback, right? And having a sense of humility and being open to feedback allows us to build trust with a person that, you know what, when there is a problem, I'll be able to kind of resolve this with this person.
Yeah.
So versus, and I'm sure we all know that person that is very resistant to feedback,
Yeah.
very resistant for constructive with what they have to work on. And so it really there's very low trust that you're going to be able to kind of do anything. So I think that's why that is really important. So easily takes responsibility and apologizes for their own part. This is such a huge piece. Again, at work and at home, this is a principle that Brett and I have try to really teach with our twins. When there's an issue, like own it like and own your piece as soon as possible, as fast as possible, and nothing makes people want to be around you more and work with you for you when you have a sense of when you take ownership. So that's a really really important piece. It's like you're building, you know what it is, it's like we're building a foundation. It's almost like these are the foundational pieces that we need in we need to set up in our relationships with other people in order for people to kind of want to trust us. And so it may seem like they're kind of left field, but it is actually really really important. And like we talked about the stats at the beginning, when people feel valued and they feel appreciated, they're they feel more motivated to be at work. That there's more growth. There's so many different pieces that kind of happen when people really feel appreciated.